Ladies and gentlemen, you are live for a special edition of the Commissioner's Recap. Um, I'm your host, Trilogy, the Commissioner Trill Dollar Bill. I got my co-host Vamp in the building with me today. Usually, shout out to Vamp. Make sure y'all go subscribe and get familiar with my bro Vamp. Um, usually we'll start off with our intro and all that. But I didn't want to do that this time because this is a special episode. Like I said, like you seen the picture, how everything first started off. Bow. This is a special episode of the Commissioner's Recap, and I wanted to pay homage to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the undisputed champion for civil rights.
Come on.
Man. You don't get no better than that. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody who's locked in for this special edition of the Commissioner's Recap when we just wanted to pay homage to the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Before we dive right into this episode, we got to have a word from our sponsors, and then we're going to get right to work. Yeah. Like I said, everybody, please, everybody that's tuning in right now, please like and subscribe to the channel. You are locked in with the Commissioner's Recap. Usually we just talk about boxing, but today we're going to talk about the undisputed champion for civil rights. That's Mr. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And this is a special episode. This is actually episode 6 in season 3, of the episode. And shout out to CJ, Miss CJ, much love to you.
CJ,
yes,
regular
to you, much respect to her, for reposting the stream. This is one of those ones, we got a lot of special people stopping by and showing love. This is going to be really a special episode. We got my brother who just tuned in, Mr. ReKO Boxing. Mr. The boxing voice looking damper,
How we doing, gents?
Yes,
my bro.
Yes. We're good. We're good, my brother. We're good, man. Ain't nothing but love over here. And shout out to Miss CJ once again for reposting the stream. She's one of those ones. She's amazing. So my brother Rico, we're here. We're talking about the undisputed champion for civil rights. You like how that sounds?
The universal champion of civil rights, Mr.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm gonna dive into something real fast, and then I'm gonna come to you guys. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born January 15th, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. King stood for nonviolence and equality for all. He became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner in 1964, leading major civil rights events like the Montgomery bus boycott and the March on Washington before his assassination in 1968. He is a huge inspiration to many, not only African Americans, but to all people, no matter their color or creed. He brought blacks and whites together in the spirit of brotherhood and the fight for racial equality. I have to mention all the loved ones and that we lost along the way, so we can have this freedom that we enjoy today. Not only the black brothers and sisters, but our white brothers and sisters who had lost their lives as well. When I say that, right, because when people think of like the civil rights movement, we think about all our brothers, our black brothers and sisters who lost their lives. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to them because it was for them who led the way for us to have the freedoms that we have today. So, but not only was it our brothers and sisters that was our color. There was also brothers and sisters that were white that helped us out as well, like James Reeb, a white Lutheran minister from Boston, where I'm from, who was beaten to death in Selma, Alabama, after joining marches for voting rights, becoming a symbol for white solidarity. And Miss Viola, a white mother from Detroit who was shot and killed by Klansmen while driving marches between Selma and Montgomery, motivated by the televised reports of violence. She felt condemned to help. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King was a brilliant man, and his dream could be felt today more than ever. With that being said, I'm gonna turn it to you, gentlemen, because I know I said a lot. I said a lot right now, and shout out to
Salute.
our brother E Money Bags right there in the
E
conversation.
money
So
back. Salute to you, my
yeah,
bro.
he see it's all out here.
Big up
Um,
E-Money.
you seen everything that I said, gentlemen. Um, before I break into something else, um,
Mm,
after everything that I just said, I actually was compelled to write that today.
respect it.
Yeah, I felt compelled to write that today because just thinking about all the freedoms and the privileges that I enjoy today. Being able to sit here right now and be able to talk about the sport that I love so much right now. You know,
Mm,
it's a lot. So yeah, there we go. Hope you guys are doing good. Shout out to Alexander the
Big up
Great.
Alex.
Much love to Alexander the Great. You know what? I invited Alexander the Great on this show, and he felt that he didn't have much to offer, but he did say something that was very powerful because I wanted
mm.
him to know that he did have something to offer. And he said Dr. King was an amazing force for change that showed willpower, information, and that love can overcome hatred. That was what Alexander the Great sent to me, and I just wanted to share that with everybody because I thought that that was beautiful, and to let him know that you could have shared that as well, and people would have respected it as well because Martin Luther King touched all lives, no matter, like I said, no matter what race you are or creed. He was actually inspired by Gandhi with his whole stance on nonviolence, meaning that he can, uh, show the world that you can show love, that love will conquer over hate, you know. Um, with all that being said, Vamp, everything that I just said, how you feeling about it?
Yeah, no, dope, man. Yeah, for sure. Martin Luther King, this is coming from across the pond, right? But Martin Luther King, that's one of the ones that we all learn about. It's one of the biggest names for us. And for me, like he represents like the whole story, the whole African American story is kind of encapsulated by Martin Luther King when you look into what he was actually fighting for, which is the rights, the civil rights for us to have as freedoms as everybody else. So even just the right to vote. When you think of the whole story of why black people are actually in America in the first place, it's quite dark, right? We say it lightly, but it's quite dark why black people are over there in the first place. So when you think of what black people went through the entire time to not even be able to vote after all of that, and then we have the person that put that in place for everybody, which is Martin Luther King. So he's going to go in the history books forever as somebody that took that stand, because if nobody did, we don't know what position that we'd be in all now. Do you get what I'm saying? Somebody has to take a stand at some point. So
Yeah,
always you got to take
yeah.
those.
Just to add to that as well, and Martin Luther King was also a clever individual. He knew that, like with love will overcome, like Alex was said, right? He was smart. He knew that there was more love than hate in the world, and he was going to prove it. So he called all the camera crews out there. And once people with hearts can see what was going on down there, right? They came by the numbers, hundreds, different colors. Mo, you know what I'm saying? You had your the whites from up north came down in hundreds and thousands to come down as a support and show love. And that was the power of Martin Luther King. He said once people seen this, they're gonna be upset. And once they aired it and they showed it across the world, you know, they made up. women were sitting there watching TV. They were crying to their husbands, like, "Do you see this? What's going on? You see this? What's going on?" It was like, "Man, listen, we got to do something because the wife is driving me crazy." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It showed there was more love than hate in the world. Rico, I'll swing it to you, my brother. You know, you heard, like, before we get into the second part of this, you heard everything that I said. And by the way, man, my brother, thank you. I know you're busy. I know you're busy. You got a lot of things going on, man. And but I say, you know, much love to you, my brother, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to this special edition of the Commissioner's Recap, where we pay homage to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. It's good to see you, my brother.
Good to see you as well. Good to see you as well, MP. Uh, good to see everybody in the comments and stuff. Shout out to Cassie and Alex and Eric. And thanks for having me. Yeah, I think this is like my first show in time, bro. And
Yeah, and it's good. We're gonna get into that. But it's good to have you on this one. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have you on this episode.
yeah, well, you're one of my best mates, aren't you? So you have that little privilege there to
I know,
get us out from a dungeon, or hibernation.
I know, because you know what, we had not to get off topic, but we had one of the most very highly talked about interviews on the Commissioner's Recap when me and you locked in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was talking about it. You know what I'm saying? It was really heartfelt. Everybody's looking for part 2. So part 2 is probably going to be coming really, really soon. But right now, before there, when we talked about Dr. King, what do you think about after you hear everything that I just said?
I think he has probably top 3 greatest speeches of all time. Possibly one. The "I Have a Dream" speech touched not only the I think for me, so I might be a little bit controversial because I don't like saying African American. I think that initially puts a divide for American people. I think you're all Americans because you could have somebody from Jamaica and you're going to call them an African American. That doesn't make sense. So for me, I just say, you know, all of you are Americans. You're all one people. And that's what mine, for me, stood for. You know, it wasn't about sort of you know what I mean? Like there was so much segregation from the American government. I think if you look at history, when you'd actually like after World War II, and you'd have, or I think during obviously World War II, and you'd have black British soldiers from the RAF and things like that, when they would actually meet in England or what have you, they or in different countries during the time, they would want black soldiers to be segregated, even the ones from not from their country, which was absolutely outrageous. But you know, obviously listening to his speech, you know, the great thing about it was that he wanted his children to be able to play with other children of different ethnicities and colors, and you know, just all come together as one people. And for some reason, you know, the power in the establishment didn't really like that, did they?
Nah, not at all. And I'm gonna segue right back to you after this, but it was great that you had brought that up, my brother. It's because we're gonna go right into the "I Have a Dream" speech. You are a wizard, Rico.
Thank you very much.
You
are the man.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. One day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom reign. From the mighty mountains of New York, Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring in Minneapolis. When we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free.
Free at last. You heard me? Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty. We are free at last. You heard that? Your favorite boxing podcast would never. Your favorite boxing podcast would never. They're gonna get me out of here. I bet you. They're gonna get me out of here. I'm trying to tell you. They're gonna get me out of here. So you're gonna do some. Your favorite boxing would never. They would never. I'm bringing something different to this. I'm bringing love. We got a guest in the building.
What's going on, fellas?
Peace, my brother. How are you? How are you doing today?
Man, I'm blessed, man. It's a beautiful day.
Definitely is a beautiful day. We was talking about the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. We just did the Have a Dream speech. I just wanted to get from you, my brother, what did Dr. Martin Luther King mean to you?
It's hard to summarize that in a statement.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard Tevin Smiley speak one time, and he called Dr. King the greatest American ever produced. I think I'll go with that.
Yeah, definitely. Hearing that, I have a dream speech, right? What's the first thing that pops into your head? Then I'm gonna get to you, gentlemen.
Oh man, it's strength and courage, audacity, a lot of those things. You have to be among the most brave of people to ever live to be subjected to such despair and to remain hopeful and and to have a dream. I mean, I'm talking about a brother whose houses were firebombed, whose family was attacked, for all intents and purposes had no reason to be hopeful in a brighter future. He somehow managed to do that. So that's one of the most incredible things I've ever observed, honestly.
Yeah, and multiple assassinations attempts on his life as well, while just trying to do God's will. And we're gonna get to that in a second. What do you got when you hear the? Because I said I was going to bring it right back to you, Rico. When you hear because you brought up the "I Have a Dream" speech. When you hear the "I Have a Dream," what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Unity, a betterment for your people, everybody as a people, as a one people, and like the good brother Ronald said, courage. It takes a extraordinary amount of courage to speak to thousands, hundreds of thousands, over a million people. I'm not too sure what the attendance record there was, but to have that speech viewed all around the world and to give the common man and children being the future a new path in togetherness is what that says to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing it to you, Vamp. Same question. When you hear that iconic "I have a dream" speech, what's the
Mhm.
first thing that pops in your head?
Um, Visionary. I think visionary because for him to say that, you got to think about what was going on at that time. For him to say that I have a dream, and his dream is that people of all races will be amongst each other, especially particularly white people and black people. Um, that's something that we take so for granted now. Do you know what I'm saying? How many mixed race families are in and amongst each other, and just it's just such a normal thing, right? We procreate with each other, and it's just a normal thing, right? And that's why I say visionary because it had to be a dream. It has to be a dream, and him saying that I have a dream of that. That's how far away it was at that time. So it's something that we take for granted for now. But like I say, somebody took that standard, kind of put it together. Somebody that kind of has love for everybody that nobody can really hate. So that's how we kind of put it all together for me.
The brother Ronald Presto, so he said courage, right? And when he said courage, you might have seen me do a smile, right? Because it took a lot of courage at that time to do what he was doing and to put himself on the front street. It took a lot of courage. He had a family of his own, and the first thing you want to do as a man is what? Is protect your family. And there's been times where his own family, like Ronald alluded to before, was attacked, house fire bombed. At that time, to speak out for injustice took a lot of courage because we've seen others like Mega Evers and other civil rights leaders who have lost their lives fighting a good fight. So yeah, when he said courage, that definitely hit hard. Um, Thinking about your own life, how did Dr. King inspire, influence, or impacted your life? I'm gonna swing it back to you, Vin, because when I heard you speak, you was
What's I doing?
into it. You was leading into it.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. To follow on that, how he's inspired us is like where we're at now to this day, where parts of my family, there's people of my surname that are mixed race, and there's parts of my family that have blended in with other races and cultures, and that's just such a normal thing, right? That's just a completely normal thing that we just kind of take for granted, and it really, really wasn't, man. And anybody that would have had to go through some sort of hellfire to even just be in a relationship with the other side. And
Yeah.
so like I think that that's something that he will always have. That's something that will always be able to connect to because there's some sort of iconic figure that we all love that's managed to put everybody together so we can look beyond what he says, which is the color of their skin, but more the contents of their character.
Um. Yeah, Ronald, if you're still there, I had the same question for you. Thinking about your own life, how has Dr. King inspired slash influenced or impacted your life? I know it's a little bit different because we're over here, so it's a little bit
Hmm.
different. Our brothers from across the pond. So I just wanted you to elaborate a little bit on how Dr. King has helped you as your life over here in America or influenced.
Man, I mean, outside of the usual, kind of inspiration and motivation, uh, he's influenced my political philosophy, right? Um, my general approach to politics, particularly um, race as it functions as a politic in and of itself, right? He is influenced, oddly enough, because he doesn't usually get aligned with this word or labeled with this word, but he's influenced my militants. Right? I think he had a different style of militants than what we are used to, right? Whereas he was a bit more politically inclined, I would say. He kind of relied much more on diplomacy, but all of that is a part of military strategy and management, right? You've got to have the might with the with sort of the I suppose you would say with the soft, right? So you know, Teddy said, what did he say? He said, talk quietly, but carry a big stick, right? That's the famous quote from Teddy Roosevelt. I think the interesting thing about that is he noted that you had to talk, right? So there's still diplomacy involved as you carry that might with you. So there's always a battle on multiple fronts, and the way he was able to navigate through society, to navigate through hatred and evil, and to remain composed, to remain dedicated. I mean, the way he knew he would die and didn't waver when he had small children. You know, I think Dr. Bernice King was maybe 5, 6 years old when he was murdered, right? To know that you have a child that young and still sacrifice your life for people, most of whom you will never know. Man, it's incomprehensible.
Yeah. Powerful. That was powerful, my brother. That was powerful. Yeah, to you, Rico. I swing that same question. I know after the brother Ronald just hit us with that big body blow, right? That knockout punch. You know what I mean? Like, tell me, over there across the pond. I know we talked about Dr. Martin Luther King before, right? But you share with me, what do you think about Dr. Martin Luther King? How has he influenced your life, you personally?
Well, he introduced a domino effect of inspiring great people that have influenced my life, because I was actually born in Zimbabwe in Africa. Now, our equivalent was Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela was somebody who served a long prison sentence, having been a freedom fighter, who was inspired by the great Dr. Martin Luther King, who has inspired myself and inspired a whole bunch of people in Africa to, to unify. And that's why, obviously, you had um, what do you call it? I actually forgot the word for it now. Oh, that's why you'd have a whole bunch of countries going for their independence. So the domino effect of a Dr. Martin Luther King literally sparked and set the flame for, the I say civil rights movement within Africa. You see, South Africa, they only got their independence back in 1996 when Mandela was released from prison. And in Zimbabwe, you'd have Bob Marley come there in that concert when they had got independence in, I believe, 1986 in April the 6th. I know because that's my grandmother's birthday. So again, you have somebody who put the knock-on effect to inspire future leaders and inspire the people to be great, to be the best versions of themselves. So that allows me to come over here, for want of a better life, and to be the best version of myself. And it's been inspiring, to say the least.
I know this is a boxing show, right? So we're gonna switch it over a little bit to boxing in a little bit, but I wanted to play something that gives me chills every time I watch it. And the brother Ronald actually alluded to it when he was talking about it. Even though Dr. King knew that he will be assassinated, that he wouldn't be able to live out, he still wanted to give the good fight and do God's will. When I said that earlier, a lot of people probably didn't catch it when I said and do God's will, but you'll catch it now when I play this clip for you.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I can't say much after that. You just dropped the mic. That's a mic drop after that. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in right now to the special edition of the Commissioner's Recap with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther, dedicated to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Right there, you heard that powerful speech.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last speech before he was assassinated. Like I told y'all, every time I hear that speech, I get goosebumps. I think that speech is one of the most, that like, if you play that, you know what I'm saying, that'll get anybody riled up. Talk about motivation or whatever you need, inspiration. That right there, that touches my heart. Ronald, you heard the speech? And you actually alluded to this speech. That's why I had to play it. What do you think about when you hear that speech, my brother?
Man.
You feel it?
I try to imagine like what kind of space he had to be in. It's surreal to foresee that reality, to know that reality, because it's something that's happened. You know, he wasn't by far the first assassination, right? This is at that point there had been 300 years of them, right? And 300 plus at that point. And for him to foresee that and to still continue forward with that mission, I mean, man, it takes such resolve and such tenacity and courage to stare impending death in the face.
Yeah.
And to accept it, you know, to yield particularly when you know it's mandated by God, right? So, man, it's surreal, man. It's surreal. So,
Yeah, definitely.
you know,
It was one of those moments, right, where the moment was even big for Dr. King, even when he was saying it. Um, he walked away still talking. They had the people got under the rest of at the end of that clip. They held Dr. King. It was
hmm
like was one of those moments when he go into his chair. They had to hold Dr. King. He really gave it everything he had. It was really from the heart that he spoke of. It's like he really knew that something was gonna happen. He really seen it. Like God already told him. And like he said, he might not be able to get there with her.
right. I mean, man, it's just, for those of us children, just imagine what that's like. Know that that you would fight for your children and never get to see the results of that fight. You know,
Mm.
to be able to look your babies in the face and know that this may be the last day you ever see them, and to accept that.
Yeah, that takes a different type of
Different type of man, different type of person. Just
yeah.
that takes a different type of spirit.
Definitely. I'm gonna swing this to you, Rico. When you seen that speech, you just seen the speech, you heard the speech. How did you just feel? How did it feel when it just hit you? I seen you shaking your head like when things when you started hearing the great Reverend Doctor speak. I see that it hit you.
Yeah, of course. Um, I feel like we've lost, like, the one thing about leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King and that, of his ilk and bravery and knowledge, and the man just had no fear, and I feel we lack that in this generation now. I feel like there's so many things happening all around us, and we've not really got people who have that bravery or that fearlessness to actually fight for what they believe in. I love people that actually talk about stuff and do the things that they talk about doing, and try to make the world a better place than what they left it. Because I think, especially in this generation, a lot of our leaders are extremely selfish and don't care about the people that they actually are supposed to care about. So, I feel that it's unfortunate that he was taken far too soon, extremely far too soon, because I think he had so much more to give to the world. But, what he did while he was here was just nothing short of amazing.
Yeah, I'm swinging that right to you, Vam. You just heard that speech, and you know where he was facing and where he had to be thinking, and what happened after that, because this was the last speech before the coward's bullet ripped through Dr. King's neck. So, what do you think about when you hear that speech, my brother?
Yeah, the same thing, to echo what everybody's saying. Is kind of the bravery. It's inspiring to watch somebody on a mission like that. That's on their mission. Somebody I'm a person with two young daughters, and yeah, just putting myself in his shoes somewhat. You have to know you have to understand the mission that you're on to know that it's bigger than you. It's bigger than anything else that you're trying to, that you have in the physical. That you know that your life is going to end, and you're still carrying on, still braving up to everybody, and you know that your mission's bigger than your life, and he's aware of that. Yeah, that's definitely inspiring, man. It's definitely inspiring to see that great men existed among us.
Yeah, like Mr. Neutral, the classy one, just said, bravery beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Bravery beyond comprehension. Um, I and now I know this is a boxing show, right? So we're gonna swing it to boxing, right? And this is what you got to think about all the fighters, because we had great world champions, right? Not only that, great entertainers, great world champions, and everybody, and these iconic icons that we give praise to and that we show love to and everything. Um, these guys used to have to go through the back entrance. They had to use water fountains that said colors only. They couldn't use the white onlys, color fountains. They couldn't use the white only. And these are our world champions. These are our champions that we look up to and that we love and admire, like the Muhammad Ali's, Sonny Listons, the Sugar Ray Robinsons. You got to even think about these guys winning Olympic gold medals. In 1960, you had Muhammad Ali, who got his gold medal, right? And in 1964, if I'm not sure, wasn't it George Foreman who he got his gold medal fighting for the USA?
Yeah, that was him.
And at that time, they still wouldn't be able to eat in certain restaurants. Had to throw in some boxing for you. So it was like, they get at me. And you know what I'm saying? I wanted to thank you gentlemen, you know what I'm saying, for coming on to this special episode of the Commissioner's Recap, and to talk about, the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. To the brother Ronald, if you can hear me, my brother, I want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Commissioner's Recap. From the bottom of my heart, it really means a lot. I know that you're busy, my brother. You got a lot going on, but the fact of the matter that you came through for this one, man, I salute you and I appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you as well.
Yeah, definitely, and I loved your take on this as well. Definitely got to have you back on the show. Please let the people know, because they're gonna be after this take, after hearing you speak, my brother. They're gonna be trying to, you know what I'm saying, get a book from you. Where can people find you at, my brother?
You can find me at 7. What is my thing? Yeah, Maker Climb Axe on
Yeah,
Twitter.
make sure.
Those are the 3 individual words: Maker, MakerClimbaxe.
Definitely. Rico Boxing, uh, from the Boxing Voice. Please let the people know where they can find you, my brother. And also, don't forget, everybody, my season finale interview will be with this brother right here. You see, Rico. We had one of those episode where it was a lot of love. A lot of people was like, this was one of the best episode of the Commissioner's Recap. So we got to do that for the season finale. Rico, let the people know where they can reach you at, my brother.
You can find me somewhere locked up in a dungeon in England. Nah, just that.
You got to come out the
IKU_.
dungeon, brother. I'll be there very soon. I'll be there
I
in
know.
less,
That's
in less
that's the
than
time
30
I'm gonna get
days.
some
I'll be
ass.
there in less than 30 days, my brother. So you're going to have to shake that off. You know what I'm saying?
I
Oh
am.
man, how
Don't
long will
worry.
you be over there, brother?
I'll be there for like 7 days, my brother. I'm going to the UK. I'll be there for 7 days.
That's tough.
Yeah, my brother. They can't hold me down. Since I got my passport, I've been going crazy.
I love that. Yeah.
Going crazy. You know, Vamp, let the people know where they can reach you at.
Subscribe to me on my YouTube right here, VxMP, VxMP Twitch. I'm on there cooking. That's me for now.
Yeah. You already know me and Vamp got that Buckingham Palace Part 2 out now on streaming services, and the videos
I listen
out.
to that song every day.
Yeah,
That's
and the
dope, bro.
videos
That's
out
dope.
on YouTube as
Thank
well.
you, bro.
Yeah,
Don't worry, it's my guy, man.
We got works coming, man.
Any-
There's the music. The music's getting slapped out this year. Trust me, man.
Yeah.
Sure, bro. I'm really
Trust me.
excited about that. Definitely, hopefully, come on a project
We got
really soon as
Yeah,
well.
we got something. We got
Come
something
on.
crazy too. We got a something special coming for everybody. Not to mention, I just dropped the Regime with my daughter Beebs out now on all streaming services. The video is coming soon. And make sure that you tune in. Before, I'm not going to end this like how I end off regular shows. I want to thank my panel. I want to thank the brother Rondo. I want to thank Rico. I want to thank Vamp. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for coming and sharing this special moment with me. The special edition of the Commissioner's Recap. Yo, you won't see nobody else doing this. I'm trying to tell you, you won't. I'm different.
Thank you, Trill. I just want to say how special you are and how you're trying to bring everybody together and also give thanks and love to, the people that came before us. So I think you should pat yourself on the back for being an exceptional human being.
Yo, brother, I just realized something that was so crazy, right? There was so much hate and stuff that I seen in the world. I just want to be a beacon of love. If I wanted to, you know what I mean? I done seen so much hate and so much harsh stuff in this world, man. I just want to just spread love. That's it.
And you do it well.
Thank you, my brother. So how we going to end this? We're going to end this how we started it, right? We're going to do all the speeches back to back to back. And then we're going to get out of here. Much love to everybody for tuning in to the special edition of the Commissioner's Recap, hosted by me, your bro, Trill Dollar Bill. Thank you once again to Ronald, Rico, Van from the heart. It means so much. Shout out to everybody that locked in today. It really means so much. Shout out to everybody who was in the comment section, from Miss CJ to Mr. Neutral to Alex the Great to my bro E Money Bags. I appreciate y'all so much. And we out of here, man. We got one of those dope ones, but this is how we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it like how we came, with nothing but love. On this special Dr. Martin Luther King Day.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. One day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when it happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free. All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.